Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Tonight, the pay-to-play system scheme here in the city of Yonkers, where some are utilizing their political positions to enrich themselves. How are they doing that? Join me. Good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Hope you're having a happy Sunday. It was a beautiful day today, was it not? Nice day out there. Anyway, the meeting that you see there is a meeting from last week's zoning board, or was it this week's zoning board of appeals meeting? You see Andrew Romano there, an attorney representing an investor, a developer, someone looking to do some work that did not get a permit first, but did the work anyway. Wilson Kimball saw that I was there recording, so immediately said, Mr. Romano, do you not know that permits are needed? Yes, that's right. Permits are needed, and many of us know that all too well. Some, however, they don't worry about permits. I want you to just really quick make note of the individual right here. That's Anthony Jalaj. I'll get into him in a minute. I just want you to remember him. And I'll talk about that in a second. Anyway, folks, good evening. How you doing? Happy Sunday. Tonight, I want to talk about the pay-to-play system that operates here in the city of Yonkers. I'm learning a lot, actually. I'm learning a lot more. And I want to say thank you to the individuals that have been emailing me and helping guide me, where to look, where to research, what dots to connect. I appreciate it. So please continue to do so. Today, I want to connect some dots. I want to show you, who are the individuals here in the city of Yonkers that are doing business, the developers. How are they connected to the mayor? How are they connected to the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency? How are they connected to our city council, our elected officials, the mayor, right? And how is it that they are able to get everything that they want so easy? How is it that they are able to buy up all this city property, get whatever it is that they want here in the city of Yonkers? And it seems like our elected officials are working to represent them. Remember the affordable housing ordinance that was not passed. Remember the flip-flop that our majority leader, Tasha Diaz, displayed that night when she made an about face and did not help override the mayor's veto, and therefore the ordinance remains the same. And that was 2021. So what have our elected officials been doing besides distributing food in order to gather data on people here in the city of Yonkers? So when the time comes for petitions, they know exactly who to go to. They know exactly who will sign their petitions in fear of having that food distribution taken away. It's all about staying in power, remaining in office. Why? Because they leverage those positions in order to enrich themselves. You see, it wasn't the current administration that came up with this master plan that I've been talking about. They just positioned themselves in order to take advantage of what they knew was going to be happening. They positioned themselves to be the gatekeeper, so to speak. So if anyone coming to Yonkers to do business, to be a part of this revitalization and this grand old river walk all the way up to God knows where, they would have to go through them. Yonkers was a key central part of this overall master plan that originated in Albany. So when the mayor says we still have a lot to accomplish, to finish, what we have to get done what we started, they didn't start this. This was started up in Albany. This was started in other cities, other towns, and other villages, and they knew it was coming to Yonkers. And so they had to position themselves to take advantage of this. And they did that by placing their pawns in key positions throughout the city, various departments, like the building department, appointing people to key committees like the Zoning Board of Appeals, having individuals in the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency is very beneficial to this overall scheme. People in the planning board, and even people in the police departments. It all is a part of this system, this pay-to-play system that was created in order to take full advantage of the billions of dollars that was going to be and is going to be spent here in the city of Yonkers developing it, but not for the people that are here now, but for the people that they see will be here in the future. And that's not many of us. And so now we are starting to see these changes as they are more and more drastic. We're being impacted negatively more so than positively. People are starting to wake up. They're starting to realize that maybe what we thought we were getting is not. It's not what we bargained for, right? And so it seems like it's more and more difficult to try and do anything about it. But I think education is key. Awareness is key. Understanding the system, how it works, is very important. And I will try to do my best to break it all down, but there's a lot of information and it can be quite overwhelming. You know, sometimes I can be sent down certain rabbit holes and get lost. So I've had to learn to stop, go back, and reroute, because that can take me into somewhere else for a whole nother 2 hours. And I was up very late last night, you know, just trying to get as much data, and I won't be able to present all of it today, but I will over the course of, a few podcasts. And so I will begin by connecting some of these dots, and all roads lead to Empire Strategic Planning. Empire Strategic Planning is the lobbying firm owned by Mayor Mike Spano's brother, Nick Spano. And it is through there that the developers, the real estate attorneys, and everyone else wanting to do business here in Yonkers must go through in order to get whatever it is that they need, from approvals at the building department to tax breaks from the YIDA and land from the city itself. And then you have all these other smaller investors coming in who, with the help of the building department, are forcing businesses closed and owners to sell their properties so that they can buy them, renovate them, and then rent them out for at a price that most people in the city of Yonkers cannot afford. And they're doing this at a rapid pace, systematically. And so I want to try, speak as much as I can about it, give as much details, and hopefully, more and more people will start to understand what's going on here. So I want to start with Empire Strategic Planning. Empire Strategic Planning is, again, Nick Spano's lobbying firm. And I'm going to go through some of his clients. He has a lot of the clients that you'll see here, like, Extel, Ginsburg, AMS, the Yonkers Police Benevolence Association, the Yonkers PBA, the CLSA, the police, the Yonkers Fire Union, all paying Nick Spano anywhere from $2,500 a month to $15,000 a month. Companies like Empress, hospitals like St. Joseph, they all pay Nick Spano. And for that, they get to do, a lot of business here. They make a lot of money. So for them, I believe it's worth it, I guess. I don't know. So what I have up here is, this is, again, I'm going back to the website here, publicreporting.elections.ny.gov. This is where you can find contributions made to individuals, elected officials, their expenditures. And now there's a lot of different committees that they set up. And so you have to, really take your time to locate, go through them. I mean, you'll have the committee for Mayor Mike Spano. You have the Friends of Mike Spano, elect Mike Spano. the people for Mike Spano, right? So there's all these different ones in which, they receive contributions from, and then they move the money contributions around from one committee to another. So, this is something that, I've been noticing and trying to connect. So here, actually, this is the Committee for Better Yonkers. Now, the Committee for Better Yonkers is in the Mike Cater lawsuit. It was a committee that was created by, Nick Spano, essentially. It's an individual that was connected to Nick Spano back when he was up in Albany in his Senate days. This committee pretty much was funded by developers, attorneys, anyone looking to basically do real estate business here in the city of Yonkers. This committee was a big part of the takedown of Mike Cater, the former city council president. And that's because Mike Cater wasn't playing ball with these guys. And so they got together to take him down. They created a website. They posted crazy pictures about him. They did robocalls. They had prank calls to his family, to his wife, claims of affairs and everything else. They called and contacted neighbors. They really did this disgusting, dirty campaign that ultimately really just, emotionally and mentally and physically even got to the city council president, and he would lose to Lakeisha Collins Bellamy. But that was all part of the plan. And I'll get to that also in a minute, right? And the interesting thing is that when you would go to the Committee for Better Yonkers website, which is no longer up, I guess after I've been talking about it for a while, and also after it was named in the lawsuit that Mike Cater has, you would only see everything negative about Mike Cater, all these negative articles, and then one ad for Lakeisha Collins Bellamy. So obviously the Committee for Better Yonkers supported Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, but it wouldn't have anything to do with her introducing the legislation for the fourth term. I mean, they didn't know back then that she would do something like that, right? Because they want Mike Spano to stay in. Mike Spano is their guy through Nick Spano. And so that is what ultimately the fourth term is all about, right? So lately I've been mentioning something called the master plan. The master plan for Yonkers essentially calls for the removal of certain people and businesses, particularly on the west side in districts 1, 2, and 3. Those districts are represented by 3 women of color: Shanae Williams, Corazon Pineda-Isaac, and Tasha Diaz, all whom are currently up for re-election or are running for another position, another office. As you know, Corazon Pineda-Isaac is running for mayor. Shanae Williams is trying to go up to the county. Tasha Diaz is running for re-election. She's going up against Hector Santiago. They are, the 3 of them, among with others, are part of this infrastructure of the pay-to-play system. Instead of representing the people that voted them into office, they sold their seats. They sold their seats to developers, to real estate attorneys, and anyone willing to contribute money to their campaign, as well as the campaign of anyone supported and endorsed by both the mayor, the current administration, and the Yonkers Democratic Party, right? The entire 12 years is nothing but just the current administration positioning individuals, unqualified individuals, into key positions in order to enrich themselves, especially now and within the next coming 4 years, because of all the developments and stuff that's going up. Ultimately, what the term limit extension introduced by Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, the CCP, the city council president, was really and is really about is keeping someone Nick Spano can trust in position to do favors, to where favors can be sold. Unless the voters begin paying Empire Strategic Planning $15,000 a month, we the people will not be done any favors. Not at all. So again, I want to go to the Committee for Better Yonkers. So now I want to show you who are the individuals that contributed to the Committee for a Better Yonkers. So think about this. The Committee for Better Yonkers. Now, what do they mean by that? Well, like I said, they're going to remove a certain group of people, certain businesses up out of Yonkers and completely reshape and redesign the city the way they want it by bringing in all these luxury high rises, these movie studios, and that is going to bring a different demographic, more affluent, higher income earners. That's the master plan. Master plan has nothing to do with revitalizing Yonkers for the people that have been here most of their lives, if not 20 years or more. It's for the people they anticipate that will be coming in. They're not really here yet, folks. So when you say that those apartments and down at the water, oh, they're half empty, they're not really, that's because they're not done. This is a 10-year plan, the master plan to get rid of people, and it includes a lot of these developers and real estate attorneys who represent these developers when they go up in front of the board, the zoning board, the planning board, and they want to get their, whatever changes, approved, whatever it is that they need done. If they want to go higher, they hire a certain attorney who's connected because that attorney has been contributing to certain individuals. And so when they go up before the zoning board, where the people that they've been donating to, the administration has its pawns in position, they're going to go ahead and do what they need to do for that attorney and that attorney's client because they've been paying to play, right? So that's how it works. So here, for the Committee for a Better Yonkers, the biggest donation came in April 29th of 2021. That was $10,000 by Louis Capelli. Well, Louis Capelli is one of the clients of Empire Strategic Planning. And so not only do they hire Empire Strategic Planning, but they also have to donate to candidates, right? So basically, Empire Strategic Planning is the middleman. You want to get favors and you want to get things done in certain towns, cities, villages, hire us. We have relationships with elected officials. Then they go to the elected officials. Hey, you want to get money for your campaigns? Well, I can get you the big bucks, as my cousin likes to say, Irwin, the deep pocket guys. They'll come and they'll give you $10,000, $5,000. We're not talking about $50 here, $100 here. No, minimum 1,000. And so, of course, absolutely, I want to win my election. I need to raise money. Beautiful. And so when the developers or whoever come to them say, hey, listen, we want to build a 40-story tower. We want to build 2 32-story towers on Woodworth. No problem. I got my people in the zoning board. I got my people in the Yonkers City Council all board up. You just have to go to their fundraisers. That's why they have so many all the time. Why are they raising money now? Because they can. Because people need favors. And so they got to get paid. And so that's what they do. So they'll go to these fundraisers. That's why you go and see people that you don't see in Yonkers. Where these people come from? Why are they so invested in the West Side? They don't live there, but they're going to invest there. They're going to build there. So this is Empire Strategic Planning. You can go and look up this yourself. Reports.ethics.ny.gov, public inquiry. And they have a lot of clients. Hutch Management. Hutch Management is Joseph Simone. Joseph D. Simone is the guy that did Boyce Thompson. He's done a lot of development here in the city of Yonkers, and he's donated a lot. Let's take a look at how much Simone has donated. Certain individuals have donated a lot of money. Dr. Amir Rabadi, over $200,000, just him alone. And so you wonder, what does that get for this gentleman? Joseph Simone has also contributed a lot. And so when you go on here, type in the person you want to see how much they contributed. And if you just want to see Yonkers, which is what I just focused on, Yonkers, here you go. $3,000 to McLaughlin. Liam McLaughlin. He donated a lot to McLaughlin when he was running for city council president. Liam McLaughlin is the inspector general. Well, Simone, who is a client of Nick Spano, donates to Liam McLaughlin. Hey, Liam, this is what we're going to do to Mike Cater. You got to be a part of this. Not only did we donate to your campaign, or I got guys to donate to your campaign to help you win, even though you ended up losing to Mike Cater, but we then got you that job as the inspector general. Easy money. So if you look, that's all McLaughlin, $3,000, $2,000, $3,000, $1,000, $2,000, $2,000, 500, 1,000 to Mike Cater got 1,000. Hey, but it's McLaughlin. Judge McGrath, Brendan McGrath. You may know him from municipal housing. Friends of Michael Sabatino. 500, 1,000 to the mayor, Mike Spano. And that's the important one, because his brother represents him, lobbies for him here in the city of Yonkers. And so if you got two developers, you got Joseph and some other guy, let's say Freddie Vasquez, the developer, who do you think they are going to go with? Whose proposal will they approve? Who will get the contract? Definitely not Freddie Vasquez. Even if I had no issues, even if I never did basement politics, I'm just not Joseph Simone. I'm not donating to Mike Spano, 8/29/2011, $1,000, $450 in 2015. Excuse me, another 1,000 in 2015, $1,000 2021, 2,500 2022. Ken Jenkins, another individual that's very involved with the developments. You may see him at groundbreaking. And so Joe Simone is a client of Empire Strategic Planning. Not only is he Hutch Management here, and again, this is Empire Strategic Planning. You see Hutch Management. He's also Mark 95 LLC, and he's got Mark 95 LLC, Mark 95 2 LLC, Mark 95 3 LLC, and they are also clients. And so if you click on here, you can see how much they pay. Empire Strategic Planning, Cindy Niclario. Remember that name. Let's look at the most latest contract here. $2,000 monthly, $3,000 monthly in 2021, the most recent. And so, of course, imagine how much money he's making. He's getting $3,000 monthly just from this guy alone. Well, actually, two of his companies, because he's also got Hutch Management. And then we also have MGM Grand. Let's take a look at that. A10 Yonkers Avenue. The most recent retainer. 2016. This is $10,000 a month. Designee, Cynthia Niclario. Cynthia Niclario is also tied to Harris Beach the law firm. You can reach Cynthia Naclario or for Harris Beach or for Empire Strategic Planning. And what have they party done? Nothing. $10,000. Let's take a look at the contract they signed. And there's many anomalies here. Many anomalies. MGM Grand. Effective January 29, 2019, the agreement between Empire Strategic Planning and Yonkers Racing Corporation, erroneously called Yonkers Raceway Corporation, and such agreement dated as December 15, 2018, amends as follows, and it's just an amendment. And I just want to say, they always have Maureen sign everything. Maureen, why do they always have you sign everything? Why is that, Maureen? Dear Mr. Rooney, this letter will serve as an agreement whereby Empire Strategic Planning agrees to represent Yonkers Raceway Corporation before the executive, legislative, and administrative branches of government in New York State effective January 1st, 2019 to December 31st. The fee for this service is payable at a rate of $10,000 per month. You will also be responsible for reasonable and actual expenses incurred. So they don't even pay for the expenses as well. Either party may cancel this agreement upon 30 days prior to written notice to either. Signed, Maureen. And so how will the city of Yonkers negotiate with the raceway, MGM Grand? And I put this on the MGM Grand because ultimately that raceway, from Rooney transfers over to MGM Grand now that they're, taking over the property and purchased it. How will that affect the negotiation, for the deal, for the money that Yonkers will receive? Are we going to see a situation where, Nick Spano, Empire Strategic Planning, says, hey, we represent MGM Grand. We want to make sure they get the best deal possible because they're saying, hey, Nick, we don't want to pay X amount of dollars. And so the mayor, his brother, is he going to say, no, Nick, I'm getting the best for the people. I don't care what you say. Is that what's going to happen? Or is MGM going to get the better of the deal? Because we should be seeing a percentage, not a set number. Like we saw last time, $19 million for the casino. They kept making more money, but the amount that the city of Yonkers got for the schools or whatever stayed the same, remained stagnant. It didn't increase with their increase in their profits. So we should get a percentage of their profits. So when they increase, we increase. But then again, we have conflict of interest here. So how do we work around that? What about Mr. Joe Cotter, iPark? He's the guy buying up all the studios. John Spano, Nick Spano, Empire Strategic Planning. Joe Cotter down here, $5,000 monthly. So he's the guy buying up all the Woodworth, all the Warburton over there to build the studios, that big lot on Ashburton and North Broadway. And he's donated a lot. He's contributed a lot to their campaigns under various different companies. Another client of Empire Strategic Planning, which I thought was interesting, was Kimber. Kimber is a gun manufacturer who left the city of Yonkers, eliminating 366 jobs, but not before receiving and having a loan, a PPP loan forgiven of over $7 million. And they left Yonkers because of the gun laws that were being enacted by Cuomo. And so they went and built another facility down south. That they used the taxpayer money that they got for free to build that facility because the jobs were lost. I'm sure they hired new people in their new facility, but the jobs, the payroll that they based that $7 million off no longer had that. And they didn't leave because of the pandemic. They left because the gun laws. So shouldn't they have to pay that back? No, they got it forgiven. They are also a client of Empire Strategic Planning. They were paying $2,500 to $5,000 a month and then up and left, eliminating 366 jobs. And I thought that was crazy because they get this PPP money and they don't have to pay it back. DeBello, Donalyn, and whatever, Al DeBello, ring a bell, Toro College, they're involved in this lobbying thing too. $15,000 to Friends of Andrew Cuomo. Friends of Andrew Cuomo, but I want to look in Yonkers. $5,000, Mayor Mike Spano. DeBello is tied to Empire Strategic Planning. They both represent Simone, Hutch Management. DeBello gets what he wants, I hear, for his clients. $2,500 for Chuck Lesnick, $2,500 here for Mike Spano in 2021. Mike Spano again, $2,500 in 2022. In 2014, $2,500. In 2015, $2,500. 2020, $2,500. Liam McLaughlin, $2,000. Mayor Spano again, $2,000. Here we go, Mike Cater again, some money. Only $1,000. $1,000. Mayor Spano again, $1,000. Spano, McLaughlin, or McLaughlin, Spano. Again, just like Joe Simone. Again, clients of Empire Strategic Planning. You can see them here, lobbyists. They call themselves lobbyists. Type in Ginsburg. Ginsburg is the developers that are doing developments over at the Ludlow project. Did I just type that wrong? Ginsburg. There's a whole bunch of controversy there with the Mike Cater lawsuit and pointing to some possible corruption going on there. Not sure why it's not coming up again. H. Yeah, added an H. No, I had it up, but I'm not sure what happened there. Let's see if I have it somewhere here. I had Ginsburg up. They were, oh, here we go. DeBello here. Patricia Lynch Associates. They're also tied to Empire Strategic Planning. So if you go to DeBello, you see Ginsburg Development Companies here. RXR. Sound familiar? That ring a bell? Xtel. They're building 7 luxury developments over there where the old MTA bus depot was. And remember, they lobbied to get that land. They did eminent domain, saying that they needed to take away for a public benefit. But what's the public benefit? Luxury developments. The MTA bus depot at least was providing jobs. That's a public benefit. And transportation. That's a public benefit. I don't know about luxury developments. And then you have Hutch Management. Again, Joseph Simone with DeBello. All in Yonkers. Making lots of money. And so, what do you think? Is this okay? How do we get a fair shake with our elected officials when they're being funded? See, Hutch Management, Empire Strategic Planning. How do we get a fair shake when our elected officials are getting all this funding from these very individuals that are paying Nick Spano in order for him to lobby for them, to follow legislation and help get legislation introduced on their behalf? So think Tasha Diaz flip-flop on the housing ordinance. Who would have wanted that to not pass? Who were the people that wanted that to fail? The luxury development guys, the residential developers. They didn't want that ordinance to pass. That was going to cost them more money. It wasn't because they weren't going to be able to make money. It was because they didn't want to put affordable apartments in their luxury developments. So then they were going to have to pay per apartment and put that into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And so if it's doubled, then they have to pay double. And so they didn't want it. And so Tasha Diaz, who's backed by Zahi Jeris and Vinny Spano, this is from their own mouths to my ears, I heard it, right? They got her to flip-flop. And it was all for show when they initially passed it. Remember, there were elections. They had to look good. They knew the mayor was going to veto that. It's all for show. It's a setup. It's all planned. So you see, again, Extel, Hutch Management, Empire Strategic Planning, Hutch Management, DeBello, Principal Lobbyist, Empire Strategic Planning, also lobbyist. All for show. Mark Stagg, another guy who donates a lot. He's also being represented by Empire Strategic Planning, who got $52,000 of PPP loan forgiven. Not bad. Yonkers Brewing Company, $143,000. And I'll get into that in a second. But again, I wanted to show you that. And this is not all of them. I'm going to be, going through and organizing them. I just want to kind of to introduce you to this. And maybe you can go on and take a look yourself if you have time, if you're interested. Here goes Ginsburg, $5,000 to the Committee for a Better Yonkers. They donated to the Committee for a Better Yonkers, right? Jalaj and Son. So remember when I said, remember the kid in the beginning, the video, this guy right here, that's Anthony Jalaj. His dad owns CCNA Realty, or he's part of that, and they own 470 Neperhan, which the city once owned. Now they just rent space out. You got the YIDA in there, the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency. You got some fire stuff in there. You got a bunch of different things in there. But he's the son. And so he is the guy they got to replace an individual who would not play ball. There were a couple individuals there that were not going to go along with this 7-0 on every vote. Think about it. Everything is 7-0. None of these proposals or these zoning changes that are proposed are ever challenged by anyone. I don't even think they even know what's going on. They're just there to do what they're told. You can see that just by watching the meeting. They already know what they're going to do. They know who's coming before them. They have relationships. They probably speak on the phone before the meetings, days before the meetings. And then they come here and they just play it out in front of the people, in front of the cameras. Oh, actually, I don't even know if there's cameras for these meetings. But he is the individual that replaced a senior member because that senior member would not approve everything like they wanted to. So eventually they got individuals removed because of Wilson Kimball, but that was on the, orders of the Spano team. And she was made the chair of the zoning board to assure that everything runs smoothly. Again, it's about positioning the pawns in important key positions so that they can get all this done. The very same reason why they had Mike Breen introduce legislation to reduce the requirement for the commissioner of the building department in order to put in Sam Borelli. No real licensed engineer was going to take the position and do what they wanted them to do. That is why the prior commissioners ended up not working out. I hear there was a commissioner who would scribble his name on these, documents because he didn't really want to sign them. So he just did a scribble before he eventually got out of there. But Sam Borelli has no problem doing this. He's not going to lose his license. He's already had some issues over when he was the deputy commissioner of DPW for giving contracts to his company through his son. Was suspended for 2 weeks without pay. But they made him now the commissioner of the building department and even reduced the requirements thanks to councilman of the 5th district, Mike Breen. And you guys will pay for that because you will end up having issues on your side of town, which you are. Well, now that part is District 6. But I'm sure folks who are in District 5 also have an issue with that Chick-fil-A that they have approved. And by the way, it's not even zoned, I'm hearing. The driveway on Roxbury there, it's not zoned to have a commercial drive-through or driveway. How was it even approved to begin with? And so one of the things and one of the hopes that I have in presenting a lot of this information over the course of, several weeks is that people who understand this, people that may be watching, maybe some attorneys out there, other people will start to say some stuff that can help us here in the city of Yonkers, because a lot of this stuff shouldn't be happening. If we had some real attorneys out here that were not bought because they all want some kind of favor when they appear in court, then we can get someone to say, hey, hold up, we're going to challenge all these zoning laws because this is not right. This is not good for the people. They're changing zoning laws left and right. They're trying to do it as quietly as possible. And so we have to shine a light on it. Many of you are complaining about it now because you're seeing it, like the folks over on Woodward, those 2 32-story towers pushing out of business, causing jobs to be lost. And now they're going to place those 2 32-story towers there. What is our city council president, who is from that area, doing? What is Shanae Williams, who represents that area, doing? Nothing. She wants to go up to county legislator. That's all she cares about. Beating Mr. Christopher Johnson. What are these people doing that represent the folks out there? See, they don't tell you about this stuff. They want to keep you distracted with the food drives, but they don't tell you about what's going on in the zoning board. Mr. Andy Romano here, his brother Dan Romano, assisted by Mr. Zahi Jerris in order to become a city court judge. They are buying property quietly, insider trading. They know which properties have the tax liens and are going to go up for sale. And so they're buying them up. See, because they're all making money, so they're keeping quiet. They know what's coming down the pipeline, and they're taking advantage. Why does Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, our city council president, have a realty company? Is she buying real estate? What is she doing? She's got a broker's license. What is she doing? Among working at municipal housing and being our city council president. What about the Collins Law Firm? How's that going? So this is important to know this stuff, folks. So this is why, again, I'm going to be showing you this. Going to be breaking it down along with you guys. Shanae is the worst. Show me the money. That's right. Let's follow the money. Alan Weissman, again, donated to the Committee for a Better Yonkers, $49.50. Jalaj and Son, $49.58. Is that how that young boy got a job with the mayor for $20,000? He's on the payroll. There's a few Jalajes on the Yonkers payroll. So if you donate, you contribute to the Committee for a Better Yonkers and Mayor Mike Spano, then you get a taxpayer-funded job. Your family does. You'll get 3-4 family members hired. And they wonder why our salaries take up so much of the city's revenue. Again, we have to cut these jobs. Stop hiring these individuals, unqualified, but they donate. They're not supposed to be there, but they donate. Sprainbrook Manor. And what's interesting is that Jeff Buss, Smith, Buss, and Jacobs donated $4,000 to the Committee for a Better Yonkers just before they literally threw him under the bus. Well, figuratively, threw him under the bus. No pun intended. But how interesting it is that Lakeisha Collins Bellamy hired them to represent her once or twice. Was she the one, Jeff Buss, that you wrote about in that letter? That's when you said that a council member called you up after they got you in the mix with that whole Mike Cater situation, that investigation, to say they're sorry, but there was political pressure put on them? Is that who it was? Which council member was it? Doesn't it suck that you donated $4,000 to the committee, their committee, to get that they use your money to get Mike Cater out, the guy that they threw you in the mix with and got this investigation going on because of? Ain't that some crazy stuff? How about our local IAFF Mutual Aid Association? What about those guys? Let's take a look. Where are you guys at? What's interesting is that in searching for the fire department people, I ended up, I don't know what they're doing here. They must have some documents mixed up. So here we had New York Police and Fire Association, Kimber Manufacturing, like I told you. And let's take a look at the fire union, because they donate a lot. The firemen donate a lot. Mutual Aid Association, paid fire department, City of Yonkers. Empire Strategic Planning. Union fees, union dues, is that what that's about? Is that going to Nick Spano? The most recent, January. Let's take a look at January's registration. President George Roca, 2,000 monthly. What are they doing for the fire? Doesn't even state what they do. Sometimes they'll state what they do. Nothing here. $2,000 monthly. Empire Strategic Planning. They also donated that mutual, $3,000 to the Committee for a Better Yonkers. Ain't that something? Why are our fire department donating to that? More valuable than the small salaries is free health insurance, and the member of these boards get. That's right. That's what they do it for. The health insurance and the pension. Free money for life. Free money, free taxpayer money for life, which puts an economic strain on the city overall, which hurts the people, the everyday people, hurts our school districts, hurts our communities. Instead of bringing in jobs, they're bringing in luxury residentials because that's the plan. That's the master plan. And so they position themselves to take advantage of it. Give us money, and we'll let you do whatever it is that you need to do here in the city of Yonkers. Just give us money. What's interesting here is when I opened up, I try to open up the letter here that they signed. Something else was in the file. I don't know how that happened. Maybe Nick Spano could take a look at that, or whoever's in charge of that. Mutual aid right here. Fire department, right? So I go right here to where it says signatory, Nick Spano, owner. I click on that, right? NYS Legal Service Agreement. I'm going to save it. But check out what form it gives me. It's very weird. Very, very weird. Not sure why. MGM, I'll save it, MGM, whatever. Clients, MGM, boom, here. New York Legal Service Organization, 6 months. This is the form that they had in there. They don't have the fire one. Maha Syed. Anyone know who Maha Syed is? This letter will serve as an agreement where Empire Strategic Planning agrees to represent Association of New York State Legal Service Organization. Anyone know what that is? Association of New York State Legal Service Organization. $2,500 a month, but that's not the fire thing. That's strange. Not the fire thing at all. Empire. Clients. And then I find this. Some guy named Michael Robalitoda. I don't know who this is, and Honorable Hal B. Greenwald. And I just thought that was interesting how that was in that file when I dug into that New York State Legal Services Organization thing. I get that guy Maha Syed, and then also I get the name of Michael Robalata. And so I looked this guy up and I see that he was, having some court issues. He's trying to evict people, whatever. And the judge was Honorable Hal B. Greenwald. That's the judge that recused herself from the lawsuit that Zahi filed against me. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Does anybody know what that is? I don't know what that is. But let's look at the one that Barry McGuey signed. See what it says. I have all these saved. A lot of information. Mutual aid engagement extension. This letter will serve as an agreement whereby Empire Strategic Planning agrees to represent Mutual Aid Association of the paid fire department of the city of Yonkers before the executive, legislative, and administrative branches of government for a fee of $2,000 per month, $24,000 a year. And what is it that they do? And that was signed by Barry McGuey back in 2020. I don't know what that other letter was about that was in there. Strange. Very strange. Now, our elected officials are all about making money. This is Councilman John Rubo's company, Yonkers Brewing Company. They got 140 $4,300 in a PPP loan. $146,787 of it was, which was the interest, was forgiven, free taxpayer money. And then the guy was sued by his former employees for not paying his wages, paying the wages, which was strange if you got this money. And it's strange if your accountant, the guy that has tax help on his license plate, didn't help you. That's strange. Anthony Moranti, councilman for District 6, is John Rubel's accountant. On his license plate, it says tax help. Well, John needs tax help. And I'm hearing that's why he may not be given the deputy mayor's seat. Is it because they saw the fact that you received all this money and it was forgiven and you didn't pay your wages? What's up with the Bank of Ozark there? Got another loan for $163,000. Will that be forgiven? Jobs reported, 15. But John can be heard himself saying that he had to let people go. So he didn't keep any jobs. He didn't retain any jobs. He just kept the money. And that's a no-no, John. And so there are a lot of funny stuff going on here. So as I'm trying to compare, cross-reference, check out PPP loan against people who've donated and who are represented by Nick Spano, who may have donated to Mike Spano and doing business here in Yonkers and also got PPP loans, right? I find some interesting. Yonkers LW Lease Company in Wichita, Kansas. Yonkers LW Lease Company in New York, Yonkers, New York. $260,000. What is that about? They got $410,000. Says Wichita, Kansas, Equity Bank. Yonkers Lease Company, $260,000. They had $261,000 forgiven, free taxpayer money, location Yonkers, New York, Equity Bank. What is it that this company does? Has anybody ever heard of Yonkers LW Lease Company? Hotels, casinos? I don't know what that is. Maybe in the casino there? I don't know. And I just like going through it. It's interesting. Now, I then ran into this company or this organization. And so this is all individuals a part of this social and political elite that own these companies, that contribute themselves using their own name, but either do business or get appointed to committees and positions or become elected. The same individuals. It's all about making money. So I ran into this congregations linked in urban strategy to affect renewal. Does anybody know what this is? Can anybody tell me? I'm going to give you a second to try and tell me what you think that is while I go over these comments. Most valuable than the small. You read that? Where's Letitia James? I'll get into that later. I want to do the Yonkers stuff. Where's she at? Yeah, she needs to be. I don't know where she's at. She's too busy talking about drag story hour. Which, listen, whatever, but that's not your job, right? We have corruption going on here. The Attorney General should be all over this corruption, but she's been too busy looking on how to go after Trump and drag story hour. Or Mimi Roca, our absentee DA, who's also connected to these individuals. Remember, and I'll show you in a second, AMS is also a client of Nick Spano's Empire Strategic Planning. Mimi Roca had an office, her headquarters for Yonkers was here in a building owned by AMS, 86 Main Street. That's a connection. Mimi Roca, AMS, Nick Spano. Mayor Spano, the brother. Complaints should be made to both of them, and they have been, as well as being tagged. Send it all to the DA and AG and shame them for doing nothing about public corruption. Absolutely. This is unreal. This is unbelievable. It's highly unethical. And so what I propose and what I will be doing, working with certain individuals, is preparing, I should say, a petition to recall our elected officials, to remove our elected officials because of this corruption. They're all tied. together. Not one of them has an independent mind. They have all been positioned by the current administration. And this is all this corruption going on. But can anyone guess really quick? Congregations linked in urban strategy to affect renewal. Does anybody know what that is? That's here in Yonkers. Anybody? Congregations linked in urban strategy to affect renewal, Inc. is also the Clusters, Inc. Anybody know what the Clusters, Inc. is? Community Services Cluster. Does anyone know what they do, who they are? I have seen this logo on signs with elected officials and things like that. This is one of those organizations that's constantly in the loop, in the circle, along with the YMCA, right? And those same organization, Yonkers Partners in Education. They all do all these exciting things, don't they? But what do they really do? I mean, how much money did they get in PPP loan again? They had $800,145 of taxpayer money forgiven. Congregations linked in urban strategy to affect renewal, Inc., aka the cluster. What does that even mean? Congregations linked in urban strategy to affect renewal, Inc.? That sounds a little funny. Congregations, I think of church. Interesting. Think about that. Untermeyer Park. Think about that. I'll leave it there. So let's look at their tax returns. Because what do? They got $800,000 of PPP money forgiven. They got over 700,000, almost 800,000. They're located at 28 Wells Avenue in Yonkers on the 4th floor. Christina Yaman. Anybody know who Christina Yaman is? Contributions and grants. Last year, they received $3,846,789 or $69 in grant and contributions. This year, they received, current year, which is, this is not the current, I believe it's 2019, 3.6, let's just call it 3.6 million, right? Program services revenue. So from program service revenue, they got in 2019 another almost 3 million. I mean, another almost 2.3 million, 2.2 million, 2,280,422. The revenue, another 17,000. Well, yeah, let's just do the prior year. Do that. Total revenue in 2019 was $5,882,837. Grants and similar amounts paid, 1.8 million. So we're talking about expenses here. So they paid just a little over 1.8 million. Grants and similar amounts paid. Salaries and other compensation, employee benefits, 2.9 million, $2,922,902. Other expenses, $981,000. Total expenses, $5,713,088. Revenue less expenses, that leaving them with just under $170,000. So most of the money that they get, grants and contribution, goes to salaries, other compensation, employee benefits. What do they do? Is this a way of just making money? Absolutely. This is what rich people do, people with money. They set up these organizations, these nonprofits. It's a 501c3. Cluster also offers other programs, including mediation, after-school care, life skills, day camp, job training, and health enrollment and advocacy. What they do is they middleman stuff. They point you to where you could find this stuff. And for that, they make $2 million, almost $2.8 million. Where's that money going? Where's that money going? Just under 1.9 million went to grants that they maybe give out. $5 million. 5.7 million, let's say. That's their total expenses. But most of that 5.7 million went to salaries, other compensation, employee benefits. Almost 3 million of it. Ain't that something? Christina Yaman, Executive Director. Ezra E. Banks, Fiscal Director. Thomas A. Roth, Treasurer. Tony J. Carizales. Reverend Winfield Peacock. Rinku, let me pronounce that. Eli Glantz is a Secretary. Candy Hicks, Board Member. Kathleen Dean. Yvette Lopez, Estelle Williams, Esmeralda Mandarita. They don't get paid none of that. The only person that gets paid is the Christina Yaman. She makes $130,000, and then the fiscal director gets paid a little something, almost $100,000, $98,000. So where's the rest of the money going? If it's going to other compensation and employee benefits. You see? This is why I talk about what I talk about. So I just thought that was interesting. Conferences, conventions, and meetings, $46,000. Ooh, let's look at that. Salaries and wages, $2.2 million. That's what most of it goes to. It's kind of like our city budget, right? Pensions, plan. So they set up pensions. So they set up pensions and plans and health insurance for themselves through this. And they get it paid for by contributions and grants. Unbelievable. Other employee benefits, $182,000. Payroll taxes, $265,000. Got to kick back to Uncle Sam. Legal, $1,500. Accounting, $2,500. Investment and management fees, $70,000. Wonder who's doing their management. Of office expenses, $210,000. Occupancy, $246,000. Travel, $49,000. So they pay for their traveling. Where they're going if they're providing programs here in Yonkers. Where they're going. This is why they set up these nonprofits. This is why the city constantly uses the same nonprofits. It's a way to funnel money, and that is why I bring it up. I'm not a negative person. I'm not trying to point that in certain individuals. I'm just talking about what's being done. They apply from these grants from the county, for the state, for the federal government, and then funnel it to these programs so their friends on these boards can do all this. Get their insurance, get their pension, $62,000 for insurance. Client recreation, $57,000. Repairs and maintenance, $27,000. Bad debt expense, $26,000. Moving and storage, $22,000. I want to know what exactly is this 1.8 million for grants and other assistance to domestic violence. They probably funnel that money to other organizations that they are connected to and get it that way. So at least they can make it look like they gave grants to something, but it's just another organization that they funnel it through to filter it through. And that's what this is really about. So who's on the board of this? Who's this board of directors? Karen Beltran. Wasn't she just named judge? Wasn't she named judge? Adam Weiss. Karen Campbell of the Campbell Soup. Jethro Miller, Andrew Levin, Lynn Hoffman, Beverly Brown Barber, Stephen Strauss, Robert May, Susan Tyler, Jenny Thomas Roth. Interesting. Interesting. And so, I'm gonna already hour. So I'm gonna be organized. I just kind of wanted to introduce you to this stuff, and show you some of the stuff that I've been working on and looking into, and then I'm gonna put it together. I want to also create a spreadsheet where I can, like an Excel spreadsheet where you can enter certain names or enter a company or whatever, and then it'll bring you up everything, the contributions, any connections they have to certain elected officials, if do they have a contract with Empire Strategic Planning. I think that's important. So I have a lot of stuff here. I mean, just a lot of stuff. Why is it that our city clerk made $136,000 in 2017? What's his 2021 pay? $165,000. He's making more than the mayor at $156,000 in 2021, and at 2022 he was making $183,000. $183,000, while his wife, who works over at the YIDA, where they give out these tax breaks to the developers, is making $130,000. And what qualifications do either of them have? And again, it's all about putting individuals in key positions. That's what it's all about. See if there's anything else here I want to show you before I get up out of it. John Rubo. No. Ginsburg. No. So, when I say they put people in key positions, is because that's exactly what they've done, right? That's exactly what they did. They put people like Lakeisha Collins Bellamy. You heard what she said. Who does she thank? She thanked Wilson Kimball. She thanked Vinnie Spano, Zahi Jeris, Wilson Kimball, the chair of the zoning board, where they are changing all the zoning laws. She's assuring on behalf of the Spanos that everybody falls in line there. 7070, perfect. They changed the zoning law. Thank you. Go build your building. These developers are buying the properties to build buildings that they cannot build there yet because of zoning laws, knowing that it's going to be changed. They're spending $5, $10 million, 50. Actually, Joe Cotter spent $55 million to buy the old Leak and Watts property, but it's not zoned for studios there. But that's what they were doing, changing all the zoning down over by the Ludlow Park area so they can put up studios and taller buildings. But he knew that was going to happen, which is why he felt comfortable spending that much money before it did. And that is exactly what they're doing. So once they get the changes approved at the zoning board, 7-0, they go over to city council, where, again, our city council president, John Rubo, who sits on the real estate, he's the chair of the real estate committee, his landlord is AMS for his Yonkers Brewing Company. Tasha Diaz, who's like Lakeisha, which is why they're very close and huggy all the time, because she's also supported by Zahi Jeris and Vinnie Spano. Mike Breen, we've seen him in action. We know what he's about. He sold out the Republicans. He sold out everyone except for himself and the Spano team. And so when that comes before our city council, these zoning changes, they also approved them 7-0. Just like they approved the Chick-fil-A, even though they didn't even change the variance for the side driveway I hear. That should have never been approved. But no one on our city council cares because they are told what to do. And those who do care don't fully understand this because it's not easy to, and that's how they get away with it. How can you stop something if you don't know what it is you're trying to stop? Completely, really, right? How is that possible? And so that's what they bank on. That's exactly what they bank on. We, the people, not knowing. And so it's important that we start to know, start to understand this. So again, our city council is bought and paid for. Shanae Williams, she's also supported by Zahi Jerris. He's the one behind her for the county legislator. And that is why they're hoping to get Westchester County legislator because of all these other developments that are going to be going on. Mount Vernon, you have New Rochelle. And so Nick has to make sure that he has people in position to cover all the areas where development is happening. And to you folks out in Mount Vernon, you should pay attention to what's happening here in Yonkers because the people that are behind what's happening over there are also behind what's happening here. Pay attention here, you'll see some of the similarities. There's a connection. The mayor of Mount Vernon, where she comes from, Yonkers, YMCA, one of the organizations that constantly gets money all the time, that's constantly praised, that they constantly talk about. That every time they say, oh, we're doing something for the community, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're trying to stop this, oh, we're hoping to, make this better by working with the Y, working with clusters, Yonkers Partners in Education. But what are they really doing? Nothing but funneling money. That's it. Funneling money. More contributions. Empire Strategic Planning. Contributed also, like the Committee for a Better Yonkers, to McLaughlin, Mike Breen, Empire Strategic Planning, Mike Breen. Not a lot of money there, though, Empire. Nick Spano, Empire Strategic Planning founder and owner, has unmatched experience and success with the legislative process. In a 28-year career, he rose from being the youngest member of the Assembly to being the third highest ranking member of the state Senate leadership. As a chairman of the Committee on Developmental Disabilities, he worked with the executive branch, Assembly leadership, fellow senators, and advocates to carry out groundbreaking changes in the way New York serves its developmentally disabled residents. Move on. Meet the team. Noreen, she's always the one signing all the documents. C. Niclario, James Kavanaugh, Empire Strategic Planning. So that's a problem. James Kavanaugh is the president of the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency. They are the ones that give out the tax breaks. They are the ones that facilitate the purchase of city property. It's become a real estate racket. So it's not about them completing what they started in terms of these developments. That's not their plan. They never devised that plan. The only plan they devised was one in which they set up a system to take advantage of this development that's going on. Putting positions, people in key positions. Why you think they got rid of Cater? They needed Lakeisha in there. Why do you think they fight so hard to keep people out? Why did the mayor go for another 4th term? It's that simple. Why is it that they never introduced real legislation that benefits the people? Why have they not introduced another housing ordinance? There's a housing crisis. People were rallying over at the city court because people are being kicked out. Empire Strategic Planning, C. Niclario at Harris Beach. Cindy Niclario. James Kavanaugh, Harris Beach. Nick Spano, Empire Strategic Planning. Lakeisha Collins Bellamy. She's got her real estate company. Friends of Michael Sabatino, I'm Wilson, Elser, Moskowitz. Remember those guys. Why? Why do you say that? Why do you ask, I should say? So, I mean, I don't know what else to say, to show you. What else do I have to show? That the game is rigged. It's rigged. Empire Strategic Planning did some lobbying, state bill for with a meeting with Peter J. Abbey Jr., Assemblyman. Then they had a state bill, another state bill, S6367, State Bill 87920-C. I don't know if you know what that is. That's some of the lobbying, I guess, they had done for the Yonkers Fire Department for the fee of $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. What else do I have here? They also represent Playland. Remember Capelli? Louis Capelli here, another developer, $5,000 a month. Empire Strategic Planning, Capelli Organization. I showed you Capelli contributing $10,000. $10,000. $10,000. Louis Capelli to the Committee for a Better Yonkers. So, hey, Louis, we're going to represent you, but we also need you to donate $10,000 to this committee because we need this as a war chest so we could take out any opposition like Mike Cater. Ginsburg, again, let's go through that real quick. Ginsburg, Jalaj and Son, Alan Weissman. These are all people that donated to the Committee for a Better Yonkers. Smith Bus Jacobs, Empress Ambulance, Grassy Spring Pack, Harris Beach. Firemen, Local 4, Teamsters 456, Police Association of Yonkers, Smith Bus Jacobs, P.F. O'Connor, who does everyone's financial review, including clusters. I don't know where that went. Triad Group, I don't know who that is. This, again, Committee for a Better Yonkers, Empress, MTA, PBA, Main Street, Lost, Yonkers, General Fund, Yonkers, CLSA. Again, DeBello. They're also working with Empire Strategist, Martin Ginsburg, P.F. O'Connor Davies. I mean, this is just one big racket, folks. One big racket of individuals all paying to play. Paying to play. Anybody know Greystone, Curtis Pollock? Just made some connection there. If anybody knows to 123 William Street, trying to understand that a bit. See what else I got here. Oh, that's about it. Oh, and really quick here, I want to show this. Yonkers Downtown Waterfront Development Corporation. These are different vendors that they use. And Wilson Kimball, I believe, headed this once. O'Connor Davies, Harris Beach, RKF O'Connor Davies. See what I'm saying? The same Rosalia Perez, Hudson River Towns Control. So they use O'Connor Davies, Harris Beach, same auditors, same auditors. You think they're ever going to tell us the truth? Harris Beach, you ever think they're going to tell us the truth? Never. They'll never produce a fair report. Battery Park City Authority, where Wilson Kimball came from, where she was investigated by the Inspector General. See anyone familiar? Wilson, Elser, Moskowitz, remember them? Again. Do not feel good. I just got to cross-reference all these different things. So it's a lot of information, a lot of things to cross-reference. It's a lot of work. So I'm hoping I show you things and you guys can then email me. I know some people do that, some anonymous sources. So I appreciate you guys. From time to time, I'll do a podcast. I'll put some stuff up. People will send me information that'll help me connect the dot. So this is why I'm showing you this stuff, hoping that you can maybe lead me in a direction, where I should be looking. So yeah, it's a lot of information, folks. A lot of information. I just want to make sure I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. I think I did. But yeah, folks. So that's really what my big thing. I just want to connect those dots. I mean, it's very important, that you see that. I mean, our elected officials are not representing us. They don't work for us. They work for the people that support them, that pay their bills. They work for the current administration. Through Nick Spano's Empire Strategic Planning, a lot of these developers, business people, real estate attorneys got contracts, and that's how they do business here in Yonkers. And that is what the fourth term is all about. Staying in position in order to sell favors. There's a lot of development that still needs to be done. And so they position Wilson Kimball at the zoning board. Why do you think they put people like, what's her name? Janai Wallace in the planning board. They put Anthony Jalaj, a young kid, in the zoning board. Lakeisha Collins Bellamy replaced Mike Cater. They got Shanae. Tasha Diaz is in the pocket. John Rubo in the pocket. Why do you think Corazon named John Rubo the chair of the real estate committee back when he was a Republican and she was a Democrat? And that was kind of a thing. Like, why did she name a Republican to such an important committee? And he's been the chair of that committee ever since. No one else has done it. No reshuffling for that position. Why not? Because Rubo understands what they're doing. He's part of the game. So he's going to remain there. And so they had to, appoint him and name him. And that's why Corazon did that. So that's why I say Corazon has played the game. And now she wants to be mayor. She's going to be different all of a sudden. Well, when you say that as a single individual council person, there's not a lot that you could have done. Well, that's one thing you could have done. You could have not named him to the chair, right? You could have said, nah, because what did you get out of it? Not a whole lot. You can't say, well, they gave me this. You got nothing. Absolutely zero. Nothing, right? So you did those little things that you didn't have to do, but you did. That showed me a lot. And that should show everybody a lot, right? So I don't want to hear that as a single council person or as one council person, there's not much you could do. Well, you don't have to go along with the plan. How about that? Yeah, you could do that. How about that? right? And so, folks, I want to read a message that I got because, again, I don't want people saying, Freddie, you bugged out, right? You crazy, blah, blah, blah. Freddie, they are playing you and rule against yourselves. This is why I don't even want to, people send me stuff that they say almost on a daily basis, pretty much on a daily. Brian and Ruros, these guys just, like, I can't get out of their head. I don't know. Vinny leaked that video, and he's talking about the video that they showed of me, right? Ask them about the drinking and drugs and all that, right? So, and then the party there. So I want to show you. That's not me that just saying that, and I have other sources that have told me that information as well. You can read that if you're interested. In that, I just want to see if there's anything else here that I put. Oh, so here, again, part of what I'm talking about, right? So I went over to an area where I was called to by a person who owns a property there. So the buildings around her property have been bought by investors, and now they're trying to squeeze her. They want her to sell. So they've been giving her a hard time. And this is what they're doing to people. They're giving her violations for her garbage when, in fact, she has the neatest area out of all these buildings. But because they want to make it difficult for her, they want to exhaust her. They want her to finally cave in and say, I'm going to sell. And they've been doing this to a lot of people that own properties, a lot of business owners who've closed down. And this is, again, part of that pay-to-play system, right? They have to do this. They have to get these people out. They got deals. They got developers, investors that are paying money. Listen, I'm paying you a consultant fee every month. This is what I want. This is what I need. And so they'll send the building department after these individuals. The same way they've done to me, the same way they've done to other people. Rather than allow for this woman to be able to have a garbage truck come through this easement, which she has a legal right to, all these cars there are abandoned, no plate or expired paper plates. They're blocking this easement, so therefore she cannot put her garbage there. And they tell her, well, you have to walk it to the front end. Rather than say, okay, we'll call this owner, because that must be some big guy. They own the properties across the street, the warehouses, and say, hey, we have to remove those cars. No, they are picking on this one woman who is in need of that rental income in order to support her family. Now, Shanae Williams is the councilwoman for that district. I've reached out to her. I sent her an email. The owner has also reached out, and crickets, Shanae, all you have to do is have those cars removed. That's it. It's that simple. But they're not doing that because they want that person to sell. That's all they care about. And so that's important. This is happening to a lot of people. So I want to put that out there so we can start putting them on blast. Shame on you. Shame on you for doing this to this individual. It's not okay. It's not okay. Let her be. Help her out. Do the right thing. And did you guys see this? Listen, yes, it is. That's the Yonkers fireman who was fired a year and a half ago after he was caught by these amateur to catch a predator guys out in Atlantic City who pretended to be a 15-year-old underage girl and got this guy caught up. He knew she was 15. They made it very clear. However, he continued to speak to her in a vulgar and disgusting way. The guy already, I believe, had a felony. He was hired with prior history. What decisions are being made by our city government, the administration here? There were like a string of people that were arrested, 3 of them city employees who were arrested for some sex crime involving a minor. This was around the time also that Steve Dolan was arrested, and we're like, what's going on here with all these city employees being arrested? It's crazy, folks, because their focus is getting people in position, getting friends, having people that will do whatever it is that they need, go out and get petitions signed, come to campaigns and contribute money. And one of the things I'm going to be doing also is cross-referencing the employee list for the city of Yonkers with that of individuals who contributed to the mayor. There's a lot of people, a lot of city employees that contributed that $250 on the same day. So I'm going to show you, it's like a kickback. You want a job, I get you a job, especially if you're underqualified and you don't really deserve that job. You got to give a kickback. So all the city employees that got appointed jobs, that got, given a job, have to give a kickback, and you'll see that. So I'm going to cross-reference that. And again, I'm going to be putting some more of this together, showing more of the individuals that have contributed to the elected officials that are supported or represented, I should say, by Empire Strategic Planning, and what are the projects that they're doing, and who are the real estate attorneys that are representing them in front of the board. People like Andy Romano. I'm Freddie Vasquez, folks. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Oh, remember that name, please. It sounds like I made nothing but right decisions. What do you mean by that? Folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez. I hope I made a little bit more clear about what's going on here in terms of the pay-to-play system. You see that everyone who wants to do business in Yonkers, they pretty much set up this middleman system. You got to go through Nick Spano, and that's probably why Vinny Spano wanted me to meet with Nick Spano. I never understood why. I'm like, why do you want to meet with Nick Spano? I'm not paying that dude no money. They were trying to shake me down. They saw me doing my thing, and that's why I don't post any more private stuff. I try to be very private. They saw certain things, and I've seen this. When people, see things, or they think that you have certain things or whatever, they try to shake you down. And so that was my, my mistake. So, be low key. That we don't. I used to do this when I used to go buy stuff, whatever. I go shopping, right? I went, I try to, especially if you're going places where you can negotiate, dress like, you dress down, dress down, because if they see you flashing and all that, coming in a nice car, they will try to shake you down. And that's probably what happened. I didn't want to meet with Nick, but I wasn't definitely going to pay, monthly payment, Nick. That's for sure. We could meet and talk about other things, but definitely not me paying, monthly payment. Maybe that's why they didn't allow me to move forward with my daycare. They gave me such a hard time, and they did everything else. But as you can see, that if you want to do business in Yonkers, and many people know this is no secret, you have to pay Empire Strategic Planning. And from there, he makes you pay all of the elected officials, the ones that they want. You see what I'm saying? This is how they raise money for their candidates. Now you got to contribute to Shanae. Now you got to contribute to John. Now you got to contribute to Tasha. Now you got to contribute to Lakeisha. And that's how it's done. And then Sam will okay everything at the building department after, after Wilson changed the zoning laws, so you can go ahead and build your project. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics. I'm up out of here. Peace out. Pay the...
Freddie wins.
That's gotta be legal.
Fatality.
Very unethical. DOJ, FBI, AG, CA. I mean, if my brother ran a lobbying company, right, and making lots of money, monthly, 10,000, 5,000, 2,000 from all these people. I didn't even go through the whole list. I only got to the second page. And I'm the mayor of the city of Yonkers, right? And people are going to do everything I say. Think about it. How is it that we always have 7-0, 7-0, 7-0? Is the mayor that great? They love everything he does and says. Our city council, everything he does is just perfect. 7-0, 7-0. Same thing with the zoning board. 7-0, 7-0. Something's up with that. Something is most definitely up with that. And so that should show you also that he's got the city council, which is very important because they're supposed to be the check and balance, in his pocket. So Nick is going to get everything approved. They have, the mayor is the chair of the YIDA. You see James Kavanaugh, Wilson Kimball's husband, is the president of the YIDA, and Jamie McGill Spano, the wife of Vinny Spano, is the executive director of the YIDA. It's a business. It's a real estate business or racket.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
I am Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered, connecting the dots. What do the Yonkers City Council, Zoning Board of Appeals, Planning Board, and the Yonkers Industrial Development Agency, as well as the developers, all have in common? Empire Strategic Planning, the Nick Spano-owned lobbying firm.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
I want to end this quick because I'm greedy and I want some butter chicken. I want to end this quick because I'm greedy and I want some butter chicken. I want to end this quick because I'm greedy and I want some butter chicken. So thank you.
To me. And I don't vote for a person that lied to me. Thank you very much.
Freddie
I was raised in how.
But I'm a councilwoman, so the capacity that I know you in, they may know you in a different capacity. But I'm a councilwoman, so the capacity that I know you in, they may know you in a different capacity.
I know how the fuck you think you are. I know how the fuck you think you are.
I know you have a lot of women. I know you have a lot of women. I know you have a lot of women that work in your office. And I was also told that you favor some over others. I'm hoping that this is not true, Sammy, but I'm a councilwoman, so the capacity that I know you in, they may know you in a different capacity.
Benefit him, because he doesn't cover. He only talks trash.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
I want to end this quick.
I know you have a lot of women.
That's a lot of stars. Are we? That's a lot of stars. Are we? That's a lot of stars. Hopefully, we're going to get to 3,500 stars. When I get there, I will be happy. Los que hablan español, que hablan español, mande unas estrellitas para nosotros. Trabajamos muy duro para mantener la comunidad informada. Trabajamos muy duro para ayudar a nuestra comunidad, más a la gente que tiene negocios pequeñitos. So that my competition, the guy who always talks about me,
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Anyway, how you doing, Freddie? I watch your show. I think it's very interesting. My brother and I, he lives in Yonkers. I live up in the Greenberg area, and he got me hooked on watching your podcast, man.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
In another one.
I know you're Ted. I know you're Ted.
I'm hoping that this is not true, Sandy.
Come on, give it to us straight.
not long ago,
But I'm a councilwoman, so.
Come on, give it to us straight.
But
I'm a councilwoman, so. I know you have a lot of women.
Sure that
work in your
an
office.
optical illusion that people are following him. Mande una estrellas para nosotros. Because he doesn't cover. The original. He only talks. That's a lot of stars.
You and I would be the experts. If it were on hot dogs, yes. You and I would be the experts. If it were on hot dogs, yes.
Let me tell you, there's a lot of people that spoke today that was against me, and I still help you to this day. There are churches that are sitting in here that come to me, and I provide for your parishioners. Okay? And they come to me.
You don't do nothing. I should have
They
stayed.
come to me. Well, now you say it's my job, but when I'm out there on the front line, you say it's not. And I have given to you as well. And I have given to you as well. When I became majority leader, I became majority leader to change the narrative. The narrative of being
5 minutes from the BS, whole team seeing checks, hood now with we next.
begging. You're one of them, begging.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Who did she talk to? You ratchet hood rat. Yo, I'm glad I left.
Let me tell you something.
You and I would be the experts. If it were on hot dogs, yes. Ready, win. Fatality.
No! What a government we have. Are you proud of that? That's who represents us. And you wonder why Yonkers has a black cloud. Time to change it.